just mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up, but he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys would come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there. He's punching me in the stomach, like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Ochenko can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's doing 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Ochenko can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
The spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her and I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for
Good
the
show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad told you about it.
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like, they should all
Players. Look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now.
Hello. Today is Wednesday, July 10th.
Now you want to do it.
July 10th. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. We have another beautiful show for you today. We are here to get you through the middle of the week. We're here to have some fun. We're here to just entertain
Break
you
news
as much as we can, make fun. Are we breaking any news?
I think you have to wait until 10.
Yeah, 10.
That's when all the hype comes out for the new tiger emoji.
Oh yeah. So hopefully breaking news if it happens on the show. It doesn't seem like it's gonna happen on the show, but we'll talk about what we know, what we don't know, what we're hearing, what we're not hearing, what we like, what we don't like, all those types of things. MLB draft is on Sunday. I think I mentioned it was on Monday. I believe it's on Sunday. This weekend, a lot of LSU
Prime
players.
time for Major League Baseball.
Oh yeah.
That's how you do it.
Oh yeah. At least they did a good job moving it out of the middle of the baseball season.
Baby steps.
Now you're into the All-Star game where it's like, hey, there's no games to compete with. Sunday night, no baseball games Sunday night because you have the All-Star game the next day. It's all day games on Sunday. So you're the focus. This is what's going to be. great, right?
I bet more people watch Game of Thrones than they watch
House of Dragon.
House of Dragons, Game of Thrones Part 2.
I haven't
Then
seen
they
it.
watch.
Is it good? Is it worth watching?
It's pretty good.
If you like Game of Thrones,
I did like Game of Thrones. Did you not?
I did.
Okay.
I didn't like the last season. I think
I
think that's the majority.
Yeah. But the draft is on Sunday, and there's a lot of LSU guys that are currently on LSU's team that are in the draft that we're probably not going to see back. There's some guys that we may see back. The recruiting class, really good. One of the highest, I think maybe the highest rated recruiting class out of high school recruits coming in. We have already one of the recruits that now is rated the highest recruit ever to land on campus. The outfielder, Curiel, he has withdrawn his name from the draft. He has already said he is coming to LSU. You have another guy, Connor Griffin, who I would imagine if he ended up coming to school, he would be the highest rated recruit ever to step foot on campus. Was projected to go in the top 5, potentially top 10. Feels like in draft projections, now the draft is a crapshoot. You never really know what's going to happen. In draft projections, he is now 12th, so he keeps moving a little bit backwards in those rankings. We saw last year some of those rankings don't really matter. Paul Skeens was 6th or 5th going into, I think, the draft last year, which obviously, after Omaha, it increased. But so you don't really know. We're going to talk about who we think is going to come, and then what happens if the best case scenario and worst case scenario. I think there's some names in the draft that you can already check off. Kim and Eddie is one of them. I believe there's another high school kid that's projected to go in the top 15 picks. I imagine he's gone. Connor Griffin's interesting. William Schmidt out of Catholic High is also interesting. Don't know what's going to happen there, but we are going to get into it and talk about it. EA Sports, it's in the game. The release, it's a big day for them.
It is.
It's a big day for college football fans. It's a big day for Arch Manning. Arch Manning
I think that was
reportedly
yesterday.
Arch Manning got reported to sign and be part of the game for $50,000. Are you on
Probably
the
from the bench.
Are you getting it, Lloyd?
I already have it.
You got it.
Just waiting for.
You already pre-ordered it.
Oh yeah.
Look
When
at
are
Lloyd.
they dropping it?
Did you bundle it and everything?
Or
What
did
did
they
you
already?
do?
They haven't already dropped it,
I don't
right?
need Madden.
They haven't already dropped it, right?
No.
No, but I think if you pre-order it, you get to play it early. So
Oh, when do you get to play it?
whatever that thing says.
Lloyd will
can
tell
click
you.
it.
He'll know.
Yeah, I check every day.
I thought they announced that it's coming out. Didn't they announce
It's like
the day?
the 16th, I think.
I think it's
Okay.
sometime next week. I
Okay.
believe, but
Okay.
how early is the pre-order?
Oh, it is. I think it's the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
Great. All the people who are supposed to be watching the draft are probably going to be playing the game.
Yep.
Is that Sunday? 15th?
It's not 15. It's like next week sometime.
You'd imagine they would release it on the weekend so
It's
everybody
it's
could play
next
it.
week sometime. I know that.
Anyway,
Yeah.
big
Like later next week.
yeah,
sometime.
big day for EA Sports, big day for the gaming world, big day for the casual gamer. I think this brings the casual gamer back into play.
I've seen so many memes saying like, you're in your room, or like, hey, like dad finally comes back to dinner because he's been locked in a room playing video games,
Yeah.
thinking he's 14 years old.
Right.
again.
I think this is gonna bring in this is gonna be. I'm interested to see what happens with this release and like what the demographics are of people playing this game compared to like other games. Madden is one thing. I don't think Madden never really had that lore because it never went away.
No.
This has been gone for a long time, so it's nostalgic for a lot of us to go back and play. I haven't sniffed a video game in probably 10 years.
Yeah, you're in that demographic. Me either. Like I don't really play.
That's
a
what
lot
I
of
mean, though.
video
Like
games,
that's my
but
point. But then you have, the generation above us. I say generation. A few 40, early 40s. They grew up with the game as well, and they played it through college and the whole deal. And like, after it was done, it was like, I'm not gonna play anymore. It's almost like, hey, don't forget about us. Here we go. It's gonna be crazy to
Are
see.
you gonna play the game?
I don't know. I would like to. I say no, but like I kind of want to do it. I just don't have a gaming console.
Yeah, that's
then
what
how you gonna do
you're.
it?
Yeah, you're the.
That's the thing. I have to play with someone else's. Kind of have to go somewhere. Hey,
Oh,
let's have a
it's
sleepover. Let's have a sleepover, Lloyd.
Yeah.
Or I'll have it. You just-
sleepover.
Yeah.
I'll have it on my house. I mean,
Live stream it.
Kai, what's the guy's name? And
go ahead.
Kevin Hart. They
Passing
did
that,
it.
dude. Just go ahead.
We
live-
should
live stream it.
bring your gaming console to the house.
Set up a
We'll just
camera.
set it up in the TV room. and
Set
we'll
up a
fucking go.
tent. Throw some pillows in there.
Yeah, get to what?
Oh,
Go to
no.
Blockbuster.
Order Order DoorDash. It's now we've upgraded. We've gotten better,
Lock
sophisticated.
Allie out of the room. Y'all can fart
Hey,
all
Allie,
y'all
you're
want.
gonna
in the
They
room.
go have a girls' night.
Allie's going. She's gonna be out of town on Saturday.
This is
It's
all
not,
just
it's not
shake.
gonna be
I don't think
released
it's out this week.
unless you got the first access right there, early guy.
Early guy.
See what happens. But it's gonna be fun. I'm very happy. It's another way for college sports, NCAA, EA Sports to get college football kind of a lift up. Hard Knocks is doing that right now for the NFL. Football, people are yearning for it. They can't wait for it. It's happening. I'm holding a football. I can't wait for it. Part of the reason why I'm holding the football is because they didn't want me to drop the baseball today. Jared has the baseball. He's not going to drop it. He has better hands than I do. But
It's all about the ball.
Hard Knocks is doing that right now with the NFL, which I didn't get to watch last night's episode.
Good.
Something else was occupying the TV. Why say good?
No, it was good.
Oh, it was good. I'd imagine it was really good. You see clips. Obviously, they post of them talking about, the actual phone call to Saquon. Obviously, I don't know anything about it other than what the clip said. So, going to be fun. Can't wait to watch it. I'm going to try to watch it tonight when I get home or for tomorrow for sure. And then staying in college football, staying with LSU football, Will Campbell, the number 1 rated player in all of the game, right?
Yeah, tied for one.
Tied for one
Yeah,
at
96
96 overall, right?
I think
Left
it was 3
tackle.
or 4 players tied in it.
Yeah. Left tackle from LSU, got the 7 patch on him. Came in as a starter his freshman year and has only gotten better and better and better. He's the number 1 offensive lineman projected into the draft next year, which that was what he was projected when he got to LSU. Hey, this is what his upside is. He has lived up to that. Hopefully, he continues to go. I think ESPN has the percentage of him going 1 overall set at like
6%.
6%, but they also mentioned he's a name to watch, like a rising name to potentially get there. I think it all depends on who's going to have the number 1 pick in the draft, what their needs are. If they have a quarterback that they just drafted and they want to give him protection, that would give him an opportunity if he is indeed going to be the number 1 player taken out of the draft, or number 1 offensive lineman taken out of the draft. So going to be interesting to watch him. I think last year he gave up 0 quarterback hurries or quarterback hits or something.
0 sacks.
I know 0 sacks, but I think that he was even better than that.
Oh.
But maybe not. I say like no
could be
pressures
hurries,
or
yeah.
something. You know what I mean?
I saw a couple. Florida State.
I don't know how. Sometimes you see some of those things. You're like, wait a minute, how did that not go against?
Hey, PFF
you know?
has
But
it all figured out.
Let's not even start on PFF.
It's like
But-
the era in baseball.
Yeah, right. Like, hey, that was an error, but like that really shouldn't have been an error. That wasn't really his fault, or that wasn't an error, but man, should have been an error.
Or like,
know?
Yeah.
or like Michael Jordan's defensive stats at home when he won MVP.
What were those?
I was gonna say like the driving foul in basketball where you got hacked by 3 dudes and it's
Oh yeah.
the third one that gets the call.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, there was
Yeah, I
2
got
more.
fouled 8 times before I got to the rack. Yeah, no doubt. What was I saying?
You're talking about Will.
Oh, Will. Yeah, so Will is, I guess say he gave up no hurries. I don't know if that's actual fact, but he gave up 0 sacks. That is a fact. If you go down the list, just a few notches. The 4th overall lineman, the 4th lineman going into his draft year and into the draft as a draft prospect is our other tackle, Emory Jones. He is rated the 4th offensive lineman going into the draft. He's obviously has the ability to go up a few notches. Both of them are very athletic. Both of them came in as freshmen, have been bookend. Very rare. I would argue never has happened that you've had freshmen come in the same year and start right tackle and left tackle for 3 straight years. Sometimes you get one of them. Very rare. I don't know. Like I'm saying this pulling this out of my ass. I have no idea if that is a fact. But freshman left tackle, freshman right tackle, both come in, start basically every game. Didn't really every game, but started majority of the games from the beginning of the season, from the beginning of their career. Pretty awesome. Going to be interesting to watch them. Gets me even more excited about how good this offense can be and how far it can go because of how good the offensive line is. You also have DJ Chester at center. You have a very talented, the number 1 offensive line rated offensive line in the country.
Marlon Martinez coming back and Garrett Dellinger coming back.
Yep.
Garrett Dellinger
very experienced,
forever.
very experienced offensive line, which is part of what goes into what makes them so good. You don't have a lot of offensive line talk. It's not the sexy thing to talk about, but man, you're gonna have a lot of it this year. When you start having a lot of offensive line talk, that's a really good thing for an offense. It may not be fun. It may not be the sexiest thing in the world. But if you have an offensive line that everybody's talking about and they go out and do the things that they need to do, pretty fun thing. So excited for that. With the draft on Sunday, we have the All-Star break. Home Run Derby, is it dead? Do we think it's dead? Is it like a dunk contest? I think it's like a dunk contest.
Yeah,
I used to love to watch the dunk contest, and I don't care about it.
It's kind of taboo at this point. I mean, when you're having to try to pull guys into the contest, and we all know like the big names, the people that you want to see, that you know could hit a ball an absolute country mile, or the guys that are telling you no shot, no chance, I'm doing it. That's not good for the competition. But you know, I personally, I wish they would go back to the 10 outs. And they'd find a way to go around 10 outs. Because when I think about home run derby, home runs are cool, but like I don't want to see you hit balls 3 to 5 rows deep. Like I want to see you hit absolute moonshots. So I don't want you to stand up there tiring yourself out.
Right.
Give me 10 quality outs and or homers.
Let me say this. So like I like the outs, right? The outs are really cool because you have a limited amount. You can take your time. You can do it, and it's gonna be more quality than quantity. But with the time, you have an X amount of time. Everybody's rapid fire, which by the way, exhausting.
Yeah, super exhausting.
Look, I mean, you are doing like you don't ever train that way to hit.
No, you don't ever take you hardly take, bro. I don't know anybody that takes rounds over 10 to 12 swings
and full swings
where they're trying to hit balls out of the ballpark. Like that's not really a thing.
But
that's how you also get balls that are landing 5-6 rows on the other side of the fence. So it's like, listen, I know a lot of people that could do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I want to see, hey, you got 8 outs. Let it eat.
Right.
Let the big dog
And here's
eat.
the deal. If you go and you get to a certain point or hit balls at a certain distance throughout that time frame, you get bonus.
That's what they
swings,
do.
right?
That's what they do now.
So here's the deal. I'm saying that's what they do now. But now you have 10 outs. If you hit 3 balls out or 4 balls out in a row, right, on 1 out without getting out, bonus out.
Yeah.
You hit in your 10 outs, you have 2 balls hit at 450 feet, however, whatever the distance is, boom, bonus out. Like that, you still can have the bonus structure just with outs, and I think it'll give you a lot more quality, and you're not going to have these guys get tired out. Like it's not, I don't know. Sometimes you're not going to get the best guy win because they're not. good.
Think about it.
Look, I can't imagine Judge going out there and swinging rapid fire like that. Like his swing and
think about it.
That's not what he
you
wants
playing
to do.
baseball for as long as you've played baseball. As a baseball player, like obviously, if you haven't played baseball as long, or if you don't know that much about it, however you want to look at it, like every ball that goes up makes you go, oh my God, especially from the stands, right? But like as a baseball player, when you're there to watch it and everything that you do, you get jacked up about seeing the balls fly the furthest.
Yeah.
So like, and you know the feeling and the sound and all of that when it comes off the bat. So like, say if you were standing out in the field during BP and it's another group hitting and you know it's the moonshot group, like you don't really care. You ain't really saying anything about the fence scrapers. It's the balls that come off that are absolute moonshots. Where you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, you know why? Because everybody that's in Major League Baseball can hit a home run.
Yeah, so it's like
Not everybody can hit 485 foot home runs.
I don't want to see you continue. Like that's not what this is. Let me see you let it eat.
Well, I think you're starting to see that with the participants. Obviously, this is Pete Alonso's Super Bowl, dude. Like
last year, that was embarrassing.
He wants to go.
He's back for more. So
yeah, he wants to be a 3-time winner like Griffey, like all that kind of stuff.
That my home run derby.
And so Griffey did it. Did he do it back to back to back? Maybe not. I could be making that up. But he's gonna be in there. But then you got a bunch of young guys who have big names in baseball, but aren't necessarily known for being, the big boppers. Bobby Witt Jr., unbelievable player. I think he only has 15 home runs at the break. He's an all-star. He's gonna be good for a really long time. But like, you're not going there like, man, let me see him. I want to go see some really good at bats and hard hit low liners, homers. Like I want to see Judge hit a ball 7 million feet, right? He's there. I want to see Shohei Ohtani hit the ball 800 feet. They're not going to get in it. It's like that's why I say it's like a dunk contest. Like LeBron's never done the dunk contest. Some of the best players in the NBA aren't in the dunk contest that probably should be in it because they just don't want to do it. And that's kind of how I feel like the home run derby is. They're going to have to start taking these kids off the field.
That's the most exciting part.
I mean, it's like I catch myself looking at these kids dodge these balls more than I watch where the ball's landing.
And they do a great job, the camera crew does, of making sure you don't see these kids get pelted. We saw one last year.
Because they all have to get. They have to every year. That like they can't go unscathed every year, right?
No, but they just don't let you see. I want to see the aftermath. I want to see.
Yeah, but then you have to bring trainers out there to get them out.
They
stretch
do.
them off.
They do all that.
In the middle of the at bat, where people are still hitting balls at them, flying.
Yeah, it's
BBs
like
at
hey,
'em?
welcome to war, kid. That's what your forefathers fought it for. This is what they did.
Wow.
This is your Normandy.
Wow.
I wonder what the parents think.
You think they signed like
No
release
doubt.
waivers?
No,
Like,
no
to
doubt.
let them on the field.
1,000,000% had to
We
sign a
are
waiver.
not liable for what may happen.
1,000,000% had to sign a waiver. Like I was actually just thinking that. Like there's no question in my mind they had to sign
It's Wander
a waiver
Franco's
saying, hey,
favorite event.
You may have to have your face reconstructed. We're not liable for that though. This is the risk you take by stepping on the field with these mammoth dudes hitting balls 5 million feet because they're juiced. Because you just put a syringe in them in the back and squirted steroid juice in these balls. Because
The balls
they
or the players?
Well, not anymore. Not anymore.
Boy, yo.
The balls. Some of the balls, but they are flying, and they fly even more in the All-Star game, so they come up hotter. We're not responsible if your face has to get wired shut.
Yeah, dude, and even if
That's
a
tough.
pop-up, a major league pop-up is so much different than your 10-year-old's pop-up. They're out there looking at moon balls, and the cats are still swinging. So you're
Listen
looking
to me.
up.
Listen to me. If you've ever tried to catch a fly ball, like a normal fly ball, that like is hit up with like a normal trajectory, fine, you can kind of feel that. If you've ever tried to hit one that went straight up and like in the clouds and have to come down with a high sky or lights and you have like a dome ahead of you, and you don't, boy, thing starts to bounce. It's hard to judge, especially if you've never seen many of them.
They should do it at the Trop.
A lot of conks don't ever want to do that in the Trop.
That third deck as well. Like there's a lot going on.
The
that
third
those-
deck's I told you
that those kids are not. They've never seen that before. It makes it different trying to track a fly ball. There.
The third deck's a big deal, dude. That made me more nervous than hitting, because I'd never seen the third level, so it just changes the depth perception. So now
That and the amount of like white shirts that are probably sitting behind home plate, so you don't even see it off
That
the
too.
bat. Like that's so different for these
great
kids,
point.
man.
So Marlins
There's
man
no-
is there for the kids.
there's nothing worse than being in the outfield on a day game, and you're trying to see with the sun in your face, and there's a shadow, and there's white people sitting in white shirts right behind the pitch, and you can't see the ball across the plate.
So you're telling
Boy, that
me
sucks.
fans should start taking over these games, wear white whenever whoever you're playing's in the field, change shirts, whatever the team you're rooting for.
Every half inning, you
yeah,
gotta change
just a
shirts. That
reversible
sounds
shirt.
Or just reverse it, like make a shirt. Where
I didn't say it.
spin
You
around.
could
it
never
around.
you could never police that, but I'm telling you, man, that would be a thing.
Well, that'd be some dedication.
That would be home field advantage at its best, right?
That'd be some dedication. But yeah, so those kids.
LSU would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, but that's LSU. It's different. Like the commitment is okay. We have to have the other team's color.
No,
I guess you don't.
White. You
Actually,
just think
don't.
white.
No, white and purple.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
or gold on Sunday.
Not as much commitment as I initially thought.
Yeah, it's not hard at all.
No, just create a custom shirt.
Now, it
Yeah.
would probably fade a little bit in the 6th and 7th whenever you're 8 cocktails deep. Like, I forgot to switch shirts.
Yeah. Season tickets to anyone who commits to doing that.
Oh,
I mean, look, we got
Anyone.
like that commits and does it successfully.
got to get a group.
I don't know, crazy, but
25 season,
do you have the
100
home run
season
derby?
tickets.
I don't know about it.
Buy out the gold section.
I don't know if I'm off it or if I just want them to fix it. They haven't announced starters yet, obviously.
Did Chris Sale get a win last night? Because I know he was throwing a gym.
I don't know.
If he did, that might be like number 13, which
Oh, he's 11, 12. It'll be 12.
it'll be 12. I say, which is if he's available, it's kind of hard to say no.
No doubt. And I think if he threw, did he throw yesterday? I thought he was
He
throwing.
threw yesterday. I'm pretty sure he threw yesterday.
So then he's going to pitch again on Sunday.
I'm pretty sure he threw yesterday.
Yeah, so then he'll throw again on Sunday. So he probably, unless he doesn't pitch on Sunday, he won't be available.
Yeah, Chris Sale pitched last night.
It's Tuesday. So
He got a win,
Wednesday,
6-2.
Thursday, Friday,
Got to
Saturday,
win.
Sunday.
Was that was his 12th win?
Yeah. What was his? What was his numbers?
I'd say it just says 6-2 final.
There's no box score.
I'm gonna pull it up.
I'm on Twitter.
12-3
12
with a
wins.
274 right now. And yesterday he went 5 1/3, 5 hits. 9 punches, 3 walks, 2 runs.
Okay.
He's back.
Yeah, that works.
back.
That plays.
And you got Ronaldo Lopez throwing today, right?
Yeah.
That's
So
the
Sale's
other-
got more of a chance than Lopez does to throw.
Yeah, unless Sale doesn't throw. No. Because Sale is supposed to start on Sunday. If he does start on Sunday, he doesn't. Ronaldo Lopez, his start day will be on Monday. Would technically be on Monday, which would be the All-Star break anyway, so he would have an opportunity to go throw an inning in the All-Star game. Because Sale is going to start the first start coming off the All-Star break. Because that'll be his next start. You see what I'm saying? So Ronaldo Lopez could start in the All-Star game based off of that. I think the All-Star game is on Tuesday, right? Or is it on Monday?
Tuesday.
No, Tuesday. The Home Run Derby's on Monday.
on Monday.
And so Ronaldo Lopez's start day would technically need to be Monday. Hey, all right, you're just going to go ahead and you're going to throw an inning. You have to throw bullpens anyway. So let's go ahead and do that. So I don't know. That's what I would suspect. And maybe Chris Sale says, I want to throw in the All-Star game. I'm not going to pitch. Which is not going to happen. Because he's going to pitch for the team that's paying him millions of dollars. And trying to get into the postseason. They have the Braves have the 2 best pitchers. Jack would be so happy. He's probably so proud right now.
He still is probably happy. He's not dead.
Austin Riley hasn't. He's getting better, but hadn't done the things he wanted to do. Acuna's been. Is he hurt? Acuna's hurt, right?
Yeah, I think he's done for the year.
I think he's done for the year. He hurt his
ACL.
knee. ACL. That's right.
Yeah.
Early. Before the season started.
Oh, no. It was during the season. Around at second base.
It was. That's
But
right.
it was fairly early on in the season.
I think they're like 20 games in.
Yeah. Josh Smith obviously did not make it. We talked about that. Paul Skeens did. Talking about starting. Hopefully he gets a start. I don't know if he's going to. But we went from doing the headlines to the show.
Real quick.
So those are the Heineken headlines. But
sometimes that's the way it goes.
Sometimes that's the way it goes. Staying on the baseball train, but going a little bit down in the ranks to the college levels. LSU has been very active in both ways in the transfer portal. They have lost 17 people to the portal and have retained or brought in 10 of their own. Big recruiting class, big portal get with the Dickinson kid from Utah Valley State that was coached by a former LSU coach and Eddie Smith, who was coached under Maneri. Hitting coach, went there, has been the head coach there for a few years. I don't know how long he's been there. But this kid, middle infielder for them, potential first rounder next year, had an unbelievable season, unbelievable career there. He has transferred to LSU. Big get. I think that's the big middle infield piece that we've been talking about to go along with Milam. And then, whatever happened with Braswell or whoever else is coming in, if it's a freshman or they bring somebody else in. Big pickup. Emoji was tweeted out from Jay Johnson's account, the Tiger, which means that was kind of the similar. What did O say? Roll that Tiger.
Hold that Tiger.
Hold that Tiger. That's what that was his thing. Once he said that,
it was over.
We got a commitment. So I would imagine you're going to hear who that person is here relatively soon. I don't know who it is.
We have our guesses.
Listen, they had Cade Fisher, the lefty from Florida, put his name in the portal. He's out there, but I think that there is another pitcher that we are targeting that is that had more success this year, and feels like that is the person we're going to get. And his name is Lloyd. Can you pull that up since I do not have my computer today?
Anthony Eyanson.
Yes.
Right-handed pitcher.
Yeah.
I think that's right. We'll find out soon.
We will.
Whenever it's on the back of the jersey.
I was laughing at it.
I heard him.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. Look, I'm being dead serious when I say this. The Daniel Dickinson kid could be huge for LSU.
Swing great.
The swing's great, but I'm also thinking about what he does, man. Like, so he's hit the 18 homers. He's had the 370 and 3 whatever he batted last year as well. But you bringing somebody like that who has the ability to get on, who has the ability to hit for average, who has the ability to hit for power, He stole 32 bags last year.
That's the big one.
And you brought all these other guys in who are middle of the lineup guys. So if you don't ask him to go hit in the middle of the lineup, you're able to put him at the top of the lineup, and you surround him with some guys who've got some thump and can drive the ball in behind him. It may make this offense very potent next year.
No doubt.
Very,
Listen,
very good next year.
Now you lose a lot of pop. You're getting pop. This guy hit 18 home runs, but also stole 32 bases. He has a skill set that we haven't had here.
Yeah, if he comes here next year and hits 10 plus and steals 30 again, and you got guys hitting behind him.
Yep.
I mean, come on now, that plays
huge. And listen, his swing plays. I don't care what the talent level he played. I don't care where he played. The swing plays. It's a great swing. Me and Jared, I watched it. We both love the swing. I want to break down the swing in a little. We can break it if we have a video that we can do. If not, we don't have to. Not right now.
Okay.
But that's a huge get. We talked about the middle infield. We talked about who's going to replace some of this pop. He's going to be some of that pop. You're going to have guys who are already there. It's going to increase their level of power production.
Yeah.
You bring in the Luis, I think it's Hernandez kid from Indiana State, who hit 23 home runs last year for a really good team. So you bring in some juice.
Yep.
New look juice, but you bring some in, which is always going to be a good thing. And then you're bringing in some arms. You're restocking that bullpen / rotation / depth with arms that are very powerful.
Yeah.
This guy, that if it's the kid that you're talking about from where? San Diego State? Did I just make that up?
I think you're right, actually.
Yeah, I know he's in that area.
From them, he had a 3 ERA last year. He had
UC San Diego.
UC San Diego. He had 85 strikeouts in 82 innings. He didn't walk a ton of people. It feels like he's the most polished out of the transfer starters that they're getting, if that's the guy they're getting. I don't know. But I am looking forward to that, and Jay seems to be
on the prowl,
doing the things that he needs to do. They are voted right now as the #1 transfer portal class in the country, and
that's without
the guy coming in today.
Tonight, yeah.
So that was without also without Dickinson.
Oh.
And I'm just thinking too, like we don't know exactly what it's going to look like when it comes to getting into the middle of the lineup next year, but I don't know how you're going to slice it or how you're going to put it, but I would imagine somewhere between like Dickinson, Milam, somewhere at the top.
Probably
Maybe
Braswell if he comes
somewhere
back.
at the top, somewhere in there if he comes back. Like you being able to put that, because I would imagine there's no way.
Pearson maybe at a leadoff
Pearson
spot.
at some points, yeah. Like you got options at the top, and I would imagine somebody like Dickinson, you would love to be able to hit him at the top with the ability to run like that he does.
Yeah,
the ability and the willingness to run like he does. You would want that to be at the top with other guys being able to drive it, because it just makes life a little bit easier for everybody else.
Yeah, he's gonna be a big addition. That's one of the check marks you need to do of like, hey, who are we gonna bring in to replace it? He's a big one. He checks all the boxes.
And we haven't had anyone run like that in a while.
Yeah.
So
or has displayed it, right?
No, that's what I said. We haven't had anyone run like that in a while, because we've had guys that could run.
Yeah.
We haven't had guys that get on base and actually run and with the willingness to do
steal,
it. Yeah, like that's different.
And you had Chris Stanfield from Auburn. He can go.
There you go.
He can go. So you're adding more athleticism to the lineup.
So if you're able to put him in, you slide him somewhere in the bottom half of the lineup and let him do his thing there, and you got the ability to really turn this lineup over and turn it around. Now it's, will that thump in the middle play up to the bill?
Now let's not forget about the other trend. We got a kid, outfielder / DH / first baseman from Incarnate Word.
Mm-hmm.
He's a veteran guy. Now I don't know if he's gonna get drafted. I think he's a senior, going in for his 5th year senior year next year. He has put up some really good numbers. He was a really good hitter and has a good swing from the left side of the plate. So
Dalton Beck.
Yes. So he's putting together a lineup that has very versatile, right? You're going to have guys that can run, guys that are going to play defense, guys that also can hit the ball at the ballpark. And so you're kind of be able to mix and match it and kind of it. I don't know if Jay's thinking this. Tell me what you.
No, I was just about to say, I just hope he's able to identify his 12 to 13-ish guys earlier than he was able to do it.
Now tell me if you think the same way, and I could be wrong. It feels like Jay is recruiting to be able to find a way to score runs whenever they're not hitting homers, right? Last year,
he said it from the start, man. Yeah. He's used to coaching guys with hit ability and the power comes along later. Recently, he's had guys who have power, and it's almost like he's teaching or having to coach along the hitability side. So this is, from the way he describes it, this is more what his roots are and what he's used to having. So if he's able to have guys that he knows how to bring them along and how to move them quicker, it could work for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It felt like with what he was trying to build offensively, you just kind of settled into, hey, Tommy and Bear, you go do the thing, because this lineup this is how we're scoring runs this year.
Yeah.
And it felt like that frustrated the hell out of him, to where he's like, I want hitters, not power hitters.
You can have both.
All right. And I think he's going to probably put a lot of faith in his ability to develop the power part, but be able to manufacture and score runs to where there's not innings where you're like,
I wonder. So my question is how much of this comes from the new age of hitting, if you will, right? Because I think that's just my opinion of it. Is I think a lot of these kids now are learning at a much younger age of how to drive the ball.
Yeah.
And that has never been the thing before, and it's always been the other way around. So he's probably used to coaching guys along hitability-wise,
right,
and then bringing the power into it before. And now a lot of these kids, they're learning how to drive the ball, but they don't know how to hit yet.
Yeah.
They don't know how to set counts up. They don't know how to do all these things, and maybe those are the things he's used to doing early on, and it's hard to do that when you got guys that are so willing and wanting and ready to drive the baseball without actually knowing how to hit yet.
Yeah. I like what he's doing. I like the structure of it. I like the guys he's bringing in. I don't know how they're going to play here because most of them are coming from smaller schools. But they're very talented. They have the ability to do a lot of different things. And now he's got lineup creativity, and I think that he's going to be able to have it with a little bit less. It feels like he had lineup creativity last year with different guys coming in and out, but it all felt like they were around the same type of player, right? You had the guys that he was mixing and matching that were like going to still have the same skill set, run, could hit, athletic type of player, and or you're replacing the big bopper with another big bopper. So this year it feels like you have a little bit of mix of both. Guys who can bop but also run, and guys who you're relying strictly because of his power. So.
I will say this. I think one name that's kind of gotten lost in the fray a little bit, and I'm honestly extremely interested to see where he is next year when February comes around. And there's a lot of reasons. It's because of how the season ended. It's because of the names in the outfield that we've brought into this thing. It's because of his ability to do not only just play the field but also pitch. Where does Jake Brown fit in, and what's going to be his role next year when the season kicks off? Right. Because you got to imagine how the season ended, and him not actually being a, let's say, everyday for sure player pretty much the majority of the year. That's going to drive him. How the drop fly ball is going to drive him. The amount of outfielders you're bringing in, that's going to drive him. Where is he able to elevate his game to next year to kind of put himself?
And that's the other thing, right? You're going to have these freshmen. They're all going to get better. You would imagine, like, they're all going to say, okay, we got the experience, we saw it, we're going to get better. I'd imagine Larson's going to get better, right? He's going to probably be a little bit more aggressive, I think, right? I felt like last year every at-bat he was having, he was grinding through because he knew he needed to, like, do what he needed to, walk, get on base. It wasn't necessarily about him driving the ball out of the ballpark or getting extra base hits. It was about him having quality at bats.
He's having a good summer so
right.
far. Yeah.
And that is honestly, that's the mindset of a freshman. Let me do what I need to do for us to win. What do we need now? And you develop, right? You would imagine he's got more ability in there to say, okay, I can let this thing eat. He has another year of experience. And Jake Brown, same way, had some big moments in the postseason. Obviously had some stuff that's going to help motivate him throughout the course of the offseason. But he was in and out. He started opening day, was on the bench for a minute, came back, and all through that still had big moments after that long stay on the bench. So he's obviously going to get better. And then you bring in some other guys like the kid from Auburn and some of the recruits and some of the other transfers. It's going to be very competitive, and I think that's only going to be good for LSU in the long run, especially these young guys.
No, it's definitely going to be beneficial. And once again, I guess you never want to have a shortage of talent, right? Like, that's the opposite way of where you want to go. I wonder, and we're going to see how much of 2024, how much of that taught Jay, if you want to call it teaching Jay, of trying to find the right recipe to get those guys in there to let them roll, right? Like, you go back to 2023 and you had guys like Gavin. You had guys like Cade. You had guys like Dylan. You had guys like Trey. You had guys like Jordan who, let's be honest, them dudes weren't coming out of the lineup.
Yeah, and look, and they were playing well for you. So like it made it easy for you to make a decision.
But that's my point. Like, I guess my point is they weren't coming out of the lineup, and even when they had their stretches, because it's a baseball season, everybody goes through those stretches. They weren't coming out of the lineup, so you knew you were playing those dudes. Well, I just named like 6 players. You only got 3 other spots you can kind of move around.
Yep.
We can't say that that's what they had in 2024. So I want to know how much of 2024 is going to kind of push him to finding guys. And there's probably some things that he did or some decisions he made in 2023 where it's like, this was for the better. Maybe if I didn't pull, and not look at that time of the year, I don't really think he would have pulled him anyway. But like leaving Jordan Thompson and when I did, maybe that was for the right. Maybe I should have done that. Maybe I find that in someone a little bit early in the season when I do it.
Right.
You know, like it's just you never know. Like these are decisions, these are things you kind of play and they go back and forth all the time. But I wonder how much of 2024 is going to make him think I want a need. We obviously need all this talent, but I can't play everybody. Somebody's gonna have to be pissed off.
Yeah.
And leave at the portal.
Just hopefully not 17, but you never know.
Yeah. That's just the reality of baseball.
Well, yeah. And I guess if you want to look at the 2025 roster and who you have coming back, would you say you have? Let's put Braswell on LSU's team for the sake of the conversation. You have what? 1, 2, 3, probably 4 guys returning that played last year. Like,
I think you have your infield. You know what I mean? Like you have your starting infield there if you know he comes back.
Who's at first?
Yeah, and who's at third?
The 3, he's at third, and the guy you brought in from Utah Valley is at short. And then the first baseman is Luis Hernandez. The 3 guys they brought that only really played first base.
Do we know he's at short because he's played the majority of his career at second, right?
Yeah.
The guy Utah.
Well, then either one.
Somebody's going to third.
Right.
I agree. Somebody's got to go to third, but who? We don't know.
Yeah.
So, but I do feel like bringing him in. You know, you got Milam. You know, you got him. You know, and if Braswell is back, you know, you got them. So you for sure at least got second base over to the left. Now we figure out who's going to play first, who's going to DH, and how it goes around. And
I think you brought the guys in that it's going to be.
Yeah. I agree, but that's my point. Is if we got possibly 3 guys that can play there, we got possibly I don't know. Like if I feel like it's like 6 dudes that can play the outfield. There's a lot. We don't know who's playing catcher yet.
Right. That's the other.
To me, right now in my mind, I'm like we're still over that 13, 14 number of players where you're like, I feel good about them getting the vast majority of at bats. Because once you get over that number, it's like, all right, it's going to be hard for people to get going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And look, draft.
But you only want the talent, though. You got to have the talent.
The draft's another curveball.
Yep.
Because a lot of guys have probably been marked as, hey, they're gone. They're not coming to school by the staff. The staff would love to have them.
Right. But
fans and people who watch baseball and understand the draft, they probably understood, okay, Connor Griffin ain't coming. Kennedy ain't coming. Schmidt's going to be a toss-up. There's another kid that's not coming. It's just like, okay, those guys are checked off. Well, then draft's funky. Something happens. Maybe someone doesn't get drafted when they thought they were going to get drafted. Another team picks it, and then kind of like a chain reaction down the line. And a guy who thought he was going to go top 5, top 10 ends up going maybe 20, 25, 30. And maybe he's like, I got to go. I'm better than that. Let me go be the number 1 overall pick, So Connor Griffin, maybe he shows up. That changes. That puts a whole wrench in some of this stuff because if he's as good as that and he's going to force his way into the lineup early on, and that's a problem Jay would want to have. If he has a freshman that's better than all the other guys he brought in, you're playing him.
And he stole 70 bags his senior year.
Right, he's another guy, big physical dude who can run. That's obviously doing it in high school.
If he lands here some way somehow, because the dude is impressive.
Listen, there's only been I can count on my finger. Like, okay, this guy the minute he walked
on my finger,
on my hand.
There's been one.
There's been more than one. Guys that come into LSU as freshmen, at least in my era since I've been here, who are going to start day 1 from the minute they walked on campus. Right, LeMahieu, one of them. You had it's position players, not pitchers.
Cruz.
You had Bregman as the the other one that literally stands out, and then you had Cruz. Right, you had a bunch of other guys who everybody thought could do it, but like guaranteed this person, there's no question about it, walks in, starter day 1. You don't get many of those. He could be one of those. I'm trying to think. I'm sure there's more that I've missed, but like. You walk in day 1 recruit.
Did Micah Gibbs start as a freshman?
Did Jacoby do it?
Jacoby, I think did.
But But I'm
I know
talking about-
what you're saying. The reason why I'm asking about Jacoby is because I'm
he
asking,
did.
did it look like that in the fall too? That's what I'm asking.
It was good. It wasn't like
Whoa, this guy should have gone.
Yeah, okay. I'm asking you that because yeah.
It was like, damn, this guy's athletic.
I know
This guy's gonna be
exactly.
a
Yeah, I know
fucking stud.
exactly what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
That's why I'm throwing out names of guys that looked the part of it.
Yeah,
too.
like when DJ showed up on school, first day of fall meetings, he was the starting shortstop. Mike Hollander was going to third base. Like that was when he walked in. When Bregman walked in, hey, this is going to be the guy to replace Austin Nola. Like this is it.
He's playing.
He is playing every day. He's going to be our number 3 hitter. Boom. Dylan Cruz, same type of stuff. You don't get that very often, especially, in college, because those guys are usually
not just in college. It's super rare in this league.
Yeah, right.
Like this league's, it's as tough as it gets anyway when it comes to the college ranks. It's super rare to do that in this league.
And it's hard, I guess I don't know if I'm explaining it right. You understand what I'm saying? Like I'm not just talking about freshmen who come in and play as freshmen. Like that happens very.
When fall meetings kicks off and they write the
Yeah.
first lineup for whatever kind of game it is, scrimmage, inter squad practice, whatever you want to call it, this dude is penciled into that starting.
Yeah, without having to do anything on the field because we know how like it's a special deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Not the guy that wins the job and not like there is no shade to this. But not the guy that wins the job and all of a sudden has a left field start in game 1. No. We're talking about day 1 when they showed up here.
We're building the lineup around you.
Right, we're building the lineup around you. Like you're hitting.
Yeah.
Let's see what he looks like at 1 day. Let's see what he looks like at 3. Oh, maybe I like him at 2. Maybe I like him at 4. But you're in there and somewhere in the top of there all throughout the fall, and you're playing pretty much one position because they know when shit comes to pull right here, he's on.
Yep. And that's
a different look.
Yeah. And I think Connor could do that, right? Then you got William Schmidt, who Catholic High guy, Baton Rouge guy, wants to come to school. Obviously, it has to make the most sense. He is now projected at 24, I think, or 25. When some people earlier in the season thought he was probably going to be a top 10 pick. Big, tall, lanky righty. Maybe teams think that he really wants to go to school.
It's funny,
and that's why they're not drafting him.
It's funny. I wonder what we're gonna get because I feel like we're gonna get. I feel like it's low chance we get both, but I feel like we're gonna get one or the other. You're either gonna get Griffin Herring or you're gonna get William Schmidt.
Yeah.
You're not getting both, and you probably.
I think you could get both.
I don't
because let me tell you,
there's a higher chance you get both than you lose both, but I think you're getting one or the other.
Yeah. So let me tell you this. So this is interesting because I was thinking about it after I had said he wants to come to LSU, but like teams aren't going to draft a guy with the 10th overall pick if they're not almost 99% sure this guy is going to sign. Because if you don't sign your top 10 pick, that is it's a tough look.
Explain that, please, because people don't understand what draftability is and how it's different in baseball than it is in basketball and in football.
So basketball and football, you can get drafted from freshman year onto senior year, and if you're the best player and you get drafted in that spot, you are going to get paid accordingly. Baseball, it's very much predicated on leverage and predicated on what they're basically buying out. So coming out of high school, you have the most leverage of any other player coming out in the Major League Baseball draft because you have 4 years of eligibility in college that they're basically buying out. They're taking away a college experience, your education, and the ability to go play baseball in college. So they have to, that's why they overpay some of these high school guys because they have to do that. Let's say you go to college, you have to be 3 years in college or old enough to be a draft eligible sophomore. Either way, you are now leveraged because you have either 1 or 2 more years left in school, as opposed to if you're a senior, what are you going to do? You're just going to go back to school, and I know it's the same way like that in the other sports, but in baseball, unless you are elite, unless you say, hey, we're going to draft you 10th overall or whatever, you are probably not going to get paid the amount that you would have gotten paid the previous year. So, with that being said, Schmidt has the most leverage, and so a team is going to, if they're going to draft him, they expect him to be able to sign. Teams aren't going to want to sign someone who they have any inclination that may not go, or they heard like, he wants to go to LSU. How can he turn down the 10th overall pick? Well, let's not find out because you've seen teams get burned on that, and that's not good for them because now they don't have a guy coming in, especially the way they're pumping guys to the big leagues.
And it really doesn't Baseball is the only of the three major ones is the only one that has it to where you could get drafted on games on whatever it is, and when it comes time to sign, you don't sign.
Right.
You don't have to declare in football, but it's pretty much known like if you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
And you'll take I got a first round grade, but I got drafted in the fourth. Like that happens all the time.
Yeah. And you can't go back.
And they can't go back.
Yeah.
In baseball, I could have a top 10 grade and I get drafted to the fifth and tell you, well, to hell with it, I'm going to school. Well, that team just lost the pick now.
Right.
So they lost the pick. They have a pool of money. They're going to spread the pool of money however they can across all of their picks. But the one thing they cannot do is lose picks.
Right.
So what no one wants to do is say, hey, William Smith is expecting to get, and I don't know this. Yeah, Schmidt, I'm sorry. He's expecting to get drafted in number 15 overall. And I don't know that that's a number. I'm just throwing a number out there, right? So let's say it doesn't happen and he goes late in the compensation round. Unless that team is either able to talk down a ton of their draft picks, so where that pool of money that they have becomes a little bit higher now, or they get other guys that don't sign, they will not have the money to come up to what spot that he was going to get drafted at,
right.
which means he ain't going to go.
Right.
And he's going to go to school.
Right.
And so now they just lost that compensation pick by drafting somebody who they didn't know was going to, if they could sign him or not.
Yeah.
So teams are not going to take that risk if they can't get you signed.
Yeah.
And so that's where it becomes there's more pre-draft deals in baseball than there is in any other sport, because teams pretty much have to know, like, if I get to this number,
Are you signing?
Are you going to sign?
Yeah. And then you have some one-offs, right? Like, you've had guys that they thought were going to sign and for some reason don't. Some of that's due to based off maybe their injury. Maybe they had a prior injury or an X-ray or MRI didn't look great, or MRI, what they would do.
An MRI fix your
MRI
knee?
didn't look great. And so now they're trying to lowball you because, hey, it says you're going to have Tommy John, blah, blah, blah. And they say, okay, we're not going to give you the money that we drafted you at. So they say, I'm going to go back to school. There's been reasons why people don't, but it doesn't happen very often because of all of the research and all of the guarantees, basically, that these guys have to have.
Yeah,
You're right. That's an interesting point. Football, you draft, gone. Basketball, draft, gone. Baseball, draft, let me go back on.
I'm good. I'm
Yeah,
good.
that's a unique feature of it, and I think that's all of this is to say, if that is what's going on, if that's the conversation being had in these draft rooms, hey, are we gonna risk the ability of him not signing with us? Maybe that's why maybe he's told him, I want to go to LSU. It's gonna have to be a lot, and they just let him slip, and he's like, okay, well, I'm going to LSU, and he's cool with that.
Yep.
Garrett Cole was similar to that. Garrett Cole had a specific number. He got drafted out of high school, I think the 31st overall pick, something crazy like that, and he ended up going to UCLA. They didn't get to the number he wanted. There's issues on why he didn't sign. Goes to UCLA and becomes the number one overall pick. So it was a good move by him. It was just, you're
usually not in a bad situation as the player unless you just don't live up to the bill when you go to school.
Exactly.
Because
if you're as good as they thought you were and you do well, you're going to get
because you're going to go
drafted
higher. But what happens is if you go to school and you're not that, every single 32 of those teams are going to remember, hey, you remember what he did that day? Like, it's not a good look for us right now. So he's not, it becomes another question in the question box, if you will, at that point. But if you go to school and do what you're supposed to do, you end up going higher than whatever that pick usually is anyway.
No doubt. That's a good point. Right? Like you said, I'm that good. I don't care. I'm going to go make it better. It doesn't always work that way. Injuries, crazy things happen. I understand. But yeah. If you are as good as advertised and you get drafted and you turn it down, you're going to make more. Unless you get drafted 1 overall, which we've only seen one overall pick not signed. But that was one of those MRI deals.
Yep.
That would be devastating.
Did he go back to school?
Yeah, he got drafted again. He didn't go back to school. He went to college, didn't he? No, I think he played overseas.
No,
Brady Aiken, I think it was.
Yeah. Did he ever make his
I don't think
debut?
he ever made it up.
Tough.
But yeah, so the recruiting and draft class could look a little different after Sunday. It's a crapshoot. We don't know what's going to happen. Best of luck to those guys when they do get drafted, because it's a really cool experience. But very happy they moved the draft too. Like, Jared didn't get to really enjoy him getting drafted 21st overall. Was 21st overall? 23rd overall. Because he was in the middle of regional practice.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Like, you don't get to like really take it all in. You're focused on something else, and then you expect them to refocus after their life just changed, refocus on baseball. Like that's hard. It was very interesting to go through that process. We didn't make the postseason my draft year, so I got to enjoy my draft. But now you get to enjoy it. You get to go and you get a couple weeks, a couple months after the season or a month after the season to like have a summer. You've never had one probably in your whole life, and so you get to have it, and then you get to enjoy the draft, and then you get to move on. I think it's a great move. But
Tell you
go
what,
ahead.
yeah, that's all great. I just still wish. I mean, my TV finds its way on ESPN in a very good amount. Somehow baseball is still letting this thing ride where I haven't seen a single thing about this.
Is the draft televised on ESPN?
MLB Network.
It's
Oh,
MLB Network.
not ESPN.
No.
Not big enough.
Wasn't last year?
Not big enough for a Sunday night with nothing.
Wasn't it on ESPN last year?
I think it was on MLB Network, but they probably picked up some of the coverage because Jay was there, and like you saw some of the clips and stuff. Him talking about schemes.
I remember
and
watching
Cruz.
it live.
What
and
else?
I don't think I was watching on MLB.
What
Network.
else
I
could
could have
be
been maybe?
What else could be playing on ESPN on primetime Sunday night? That would
Well,
be.
they don't own the rights to it.
Huh?
If that's the case, like MLB Draft, the MLB owns that channel. It's like NFL Network, so the ESPN doesn't have the draft. They don't have the rights to the draft.
Well, couldn't MLB
No,
Network
it's not
give them
about
rights?
owning the rights. All they got to do is, I'm sure it would go there for a price, and MLB's probably not accepting the price that they're
Right.
trying to
That's
Or
what I'm
maybe
saying, you have to
ESPN's
buy
not
it.
offering a price.
Yeah, y'all run your little rinky-dink draft.
Yeah.
I highly doubt that.
Yeah, but MLB Network. But you're right. You don't hear anything. Nobody, and I guess that's because they don't. ESPN's not hosting it. So why would I promote it? MLB Network ain't promoting it.
ESPN and MLB Network will both broadcast the first round of the draft.
Okay, so it makes it even worse.
Even worse. And I think that's more so on because listen, would it help ESPN to promote it and if they chose to kind of do it on their own? Yeah, but it's also not their job to, I guess, curate or put together what they want the content of it to be. In the same sense as like Major League Baseball, like use this platform like as much.
Well,
as you can.
that's what NFL does, right? NFL puts their players out there. They create storylines. They make it interesting. They put themselves in the news cycle.
Yeah.
Based off of what they're doing, how they're doing it, that kind of stuff. Basketball, same way. Baseball, the only time they're in the news cycle is if somebody gets
Wander Franco'd.
You know what I think
Wilmer
too?
Franco.
Call me crazy. I think. Wait, before you even go there, you know it's crazy to me. So baseball has the stigma of like, hey, you get drafted and we won't hear from these guys for 3 to 4 years. That's very true, probably, right? But if you could still create a story and a liking of someone for people to still either remember and or follow them through their minor league career.
Yeah.
And if it goes well and or if it goes bad, for people to still be like, man, I still remember this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like football and basketball, they're doing the same thing. Not every guy is a superstar that they go and talk about.
Right.
So why wouldn't we kind of go about it the same way?
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. More eyes are on them immediately after they get drafted, but you could still kind of go about it the same way.
Yeah, I think the best thing that you can do to try to follow prospects is what I think LSU does a great job of it, but you only get that information on Twitter. Like you go and follow whatever team is, whatever minor league team that Dylan Cruz is on, like you follow him on Twitter, then you get the highlights of Dylan, like you get a 30-second clip of like, oh, he hit a double. Like that's really the only way that you can keep up with in minor league baseball unless you're actively going to minor league games.
No, I know that. I agree with that. My point is like through a season, you know, like NFL does like the hey rookie thing, right?
Right.
And they got all those guys on there. Not every single one of those guys are going to be a marquee name stay guy.
Yeah, they put them in the.
But they're on there.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it grows a liking to them and eyes to them already, and we don't have to go throughout the year and make sure you remember, hey, he was on Hey Rookie and look what he's doing now.
Yeah.
It's just a part of what they do. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to hit on all of them. You never will.
They just don't promote their
They
players.
just don't promote it. That's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's up to them to basically make sure you see every success of their whole career.
Which is why Paul Skeens should start the All-Star game. Which is why. Who do you think is going to watch? Who do you think is going to watch Paul Skeens? Like, who do you think these kids would rather? Paul Skeens, who they know because they watched him. He was this larger-than-life guy, came out of LSU, was in the College World Series. So you got that young age group who looks at him, and now he gets to the big leagues right away, so he's not forgotten. Or Would you rather Chris Sale? Baseball world, we'll talk maybe Chris Sale or Ronaldo Lopez, but the younger generation don't know these guys. They only know Paul Skeens. So you're going to create this popularity with a younger generation that's what keeps the sport growing. And because you're putting a guy on there that is very marketable.
I wouldn't even say the younger generation. I think if you polled people that just are fringe
you're
baseball
right. I think
fans,
I think they want to see exactly.
Like
right.
even you don't even have to be a fringe fan. I think at this point, I think if you went like Billy on the Street style, and you're like, do you know who
watch this new kid?
Yeah, do you know who Paul Skeens is? They'd be like, yes. Like, do you know who Chris Sale is? Probably not. Like, I feel like Paul Skeens has gone to that point of popularity where
it's he's
either
not trying to. It's
no,
just
it's not
based
him.
on how
But
he's playing,
he's
which
being
is great.
promoted. And I think like with the impact of Willie Dunn can't be understated too, because now there's dual interest.
And that's the other point. Now you have storylines. You have a super couple basically, right? But they're young. They're kind of in that really like celebrity-ish
influencer
like, cool thing, right? You see them a lot. They're very visible. And you have that at 22 years old, right? Like a lot of these guys don't get to that point till they're 28, 29 because they're just single and doing their own deal. They don't really have that like connection, right? Justin Verlander didn't meet Kate Upton until he was in his 30s, right? It's just you don't really get that till later in their career. You get one young. It's like, let's promote that dude, right? We're gonna get more eyeballs because of him.
Yeah, I mean, bro, Ronaldo Lopez, Chris Sale are both very willing, very capable, very able, and very deserving of getting an all-star start. There's just something to the Paul Skeens train right now that says,
this is your guy.
Let's go ahead and do it. And this is me. No, maybe this is me being I know a good amount about the guy and how he goes about it and how he's well received, not only by teams that he plays against, but obviously by his own teammates as well. And his actual ability on the mound and what he's doing right now is so impressive that it would make a ton of sense. You know, like it's like Bryce Harper. It's like Bryce Harper being a rookie and getting to make the All-Star team and hit leadoff.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there would have been a lot of like, nah, because he got that reception from other players and sometimes even guys on his own team, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's what it was. There isn't any of that going against Paul Skeens across the league. And that's someone that you can promote right now and and really throw up there to grow the game and lift the sport up a little bit.
If we're going based off of stats and numbers and that, if you're saying that's what deserves it, he is third on that list in my mind, right? And if you're just going based off of stats. But if you're going based off of what's good for Major League Baseball, I think you start Paul Skeens because it's not like, oh, you overreach. This guy is not having a great year. You just want to do it because you want to see eyeballs. You're doing it because, man, this guy was in the conversation to start. And maybe if you're going by the traditionalists and the old school people, like, no, he has to earn it, earn his way, do all that stuff, you'd go on with the other pitchers. But if you're looking at it in the sense of, okay, we got to grow our young viewership. We want people to see this.
And the game doesn't matter.
Look, we need to bring casual fans back into baseball. This is how you do it. You bring in that, right? You got a whole different demographic that's probably going to tune in because they want to see, Livy Dunn at the All-Star game. Right? Then there's a demographic that wants to see, man, this guy is kind of a freak show. I want to watch him pitch because he's doing things that we've never even seen before. And so you just have way more storylines, and I think it'd be good for baseball. That's if they want to do that and help promote the game, that's what.
Does the manager make the call?
No. Is it voted on?
I don't.
Or does the manager make the call?
I think the manager writes the lineup.
Yeah, I think the manager kind of makes the call.
I know that.
Yeah, well, he's part of the lineup.
Yeah.
Let him hit. Put him in the home run derby.
It's going to have a lot to do with kind of how the team wants to and where they see him being able to be used. Obviously, so like all three of these guys are going to throw. Somebody's got to throw probably game one after the All-Star break, or maybe they get the rest. Like it depends on those schedule and it's going to depend on that. But I'd like to see him start, man.
Yeah.
I really would.
I think Chris Sale's out of the conversation.
I really would.
Because I think Chris Sale's starting the day before the All-Star game. If he does start, he ain't pitching the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Ronaldo Lopez would have the other opportunity to
it would be basically
because Ronaldo and Skeens. I mean,
yeah, we said that wrong.
Yeah.
It would be basically Ronaldo Lopez's start.
Same
day.
with Skeens, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have the same start day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he would be right on track.
Honestly, actually, it would be 2 days after their start day because they both would be starting the day that they break, which would be Monday, which is the home run derby day, and then you get the next day.
Yeah, so you get an extra day rest.
Yeah, they get an extra day rest.
Yeah, so it's really between those two, I think.
Right.
As a starter, so I hope he gets it. I'm definitely watching the All-Star game if he's starting. I'm watching. Listen, he plays tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I'll be watching because
I like to watch him pitch.
I want to watch him pitch. I think there's a lot of people that want to do that.
Yeah, I think he would be I don't know when they announced.
I mean,
the
look,
lineups.
he's going on. The greatest thing that could have happened to him was playing in Indianapolis and going on the Pat McAfee show, and those guys like him. Why? Because he's playing for Pittsburgh. So now they are pushing him all the time.
And he's conveniently in the city.
And he was in the city, so he got to go in there and meet the guys, and now he's going there and he's dominating, he's doing it. What does Pat McAfee like more than anything? Guys who are really good that go out there and show they're really good, right? And that's what he's doing. This guy's supposed to be good. A lot of hype. Oh, he's my team. Let me see. And, yes, he is better than advertised, so we're going to promote that. That is huge for the game.
And McAfee.
You got to ride that
think
way.
about it. If McAfee's not doing it, think about there was so much less behind the hype train and or TV time he would have gotten had he not been on the Pat McAfee show and had they not talked about him as much as they have on there. Had they not brought what's his name, Jeff Passan on there,
Right.
There's probably that much less conversation about Paul Skeens had it not been for that show.
And now look, they're tuning in and watching Paul Skeens, and then they realize,
oh shit,
damn, they got another guy that throws 100. Damn, their shortstop's 6'7", hits the ball 700 feet. Wow. Oh, they're playing the Reds? Who's that guy that keeps stealing all these bases? This guy looks kind of fun. Then he hits a home run, then a triple, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna watch those guys. That's how you start generating more interest because they get back into the game and they look at one guy and they see other guys around them, right? There's always a story about when you're in high school and you're the young guy and there's an older guy who's draft eligible or getting recruited by all these colleges. You always want that because you want to be able to go and play well in front of the scouts or in front of the recruiters and say, oh, who's that guy?
Oh, but
he's only a sophomore?
Yeah.
Now he's on my radar. I'm going to watch him, and I'm going to keep up with him. That's how you get that. And, the more I talk about it, the more it makes a lot of sense.
But the funny thing is that's the most baseball coverage you get from ESPN is the one segment every 2 weeks with Jeff Passan about Paul Skeens. And it's on Pat McAfee.
Right.
That's the only baseball coverage you get.
And here's the deal. And this is how it happens. Right? We talked about the beginning of the progression. It's going there. Let's just say I don't think they are going to make the postseason, but let's say they do make a postseason run and they get in. Now you got Paul Skeens pitching in the postseason. Now he's on there. It's elevated even more. People are watching it. Now he's like, damn, they got a lot of young guys. We're gonna just keep up with them. And I'm not saying it's gonna happen overnight, but you're gonna gradually grow viewership because they're gonna be interested in actual people and not the actual game.
People was what's going to sell this thing, man. And you got someone who is a very, very
not
likable
easy,
dude. And good God, he's good.
Yeah.
So it's hard not to say, well, how are we like?
You have all the storylines.
Man, when you turn the TV on at 7 o'clock, I would imagine it's probably 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. Like, I need to have that guy on the mound. Like, not when it's 7:21 and, a fourth of our customers have gone to the bathroom and they're in the kitchen. Like, when it starts and they do the anthem and I need to have that guy.
Mr. Anthem, too.
And play with the Air Force.
Like, there's so many reasons why.
It just makes too much sense.
It's up to the manager.
And look, let's be honest, too. For me, the best part about it is that we're even having this conversation because he actually earned this spot. You get what I'm saying? Like,
he wasn't
not a
there
no.
No. Okay, like we're not. If Josh Smith makes the All-Star team, great. I don't think at that point everybody would have been like, I think he's gonna start and he should start the All-Star game.
Right.
You'd be like, yeah, I mean, if he gets in, great. If he starts, awesome. But like, I'm not pushing for it because it hasn't been like so dominant and so noteworthy that it's like, we haven't really seen anything like this. What Paul Skeens is doing, mind you, this man was in college ball. He had just finished the college season last year. The run that he's on, the name, what he's done, the accomplishment, everything fits the bill of he got to this game not by just scraping by and just saying, let me put together a worthy stat line and maybe there's some people pushing up my polls. No, I'm dominating. I'm still undefeated. I still got a sub 2.5. I'm doing it. He should be starting.
He should be starting.
I don't think he's trailed in a game since he's entered professional baseball.
And here's the deal, though. Like, they win when he starts, right?
Yep.
They play really well when he starts.
Crowd's there.
And he hasn't done like hey, I'm gonna go 8 innings, 2 hits given up, 15 strikeouts. Like, where you're like, whoa. He's done it. Oh, you're not gonna get many hits off of me. You may score 1 or 2 runs off of me. I'm not gonna walk you. I'm gonna strike out. If I threw 7, I may strike out 9. And I'm going to go 7 innings, and it's going to be a 6-1 game. We're going to win. That's what you've seen, and that's consistent. That's what you want to see.
They play electric ball when he's on the mound.
And you haven't seen the big-time game yet. And I think you're going to see it soon. It's like, it's going to keep rising.
Let him go 8 in the All-Star game.
Well,
I know they throw like 1 inning or 2 innings.
35 pitches, if that.
If that.
If that.
And that's the thing.
And people want to see 102.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's another thing. When we said, look, Air Force, when we said national anthem, you start the game. I don't even know if they're home, but my point is
102.
We want to see 102. Ronaldo's got a great arm as well. Chris Sale's got a great arm as well. Please, there is no slack to that. But 102 is different.
Yep.
It just is.
Yeah, and that's why I think, like you said, you only throw 35 pitches, maybe 2 innings if you extend it, but it's usually like an inning and then you go to the next guy. You lose some of that luster if it's not him in the first inning. Like, oh, okay. And if the starter goes 2 innings, like, are we waiting for the 3rd inning, the 4th inning, and then you kind of lost all of the momentum that was there.
I mean,
it'll still get built up.
The only thing that could be better than that,
if he hits,
is if somehow he was the guy who ended the game. You can't ever do that because you don't know if it's going to be a close game. He comes out and gets a save in the All-Star game. But I think starting it is more important than any of that because you can't risk him not pitching in a close game.
What if somebody hits balloon
you mentioned
balls
it earlier.
At 6-0?
This is what Major League Baseball should do. They don't make the decision on who starts.
Oh, you make a phone call.
So but like it's the manager makes a decision. I would imagine there is probably some conversation that is being had about that because the starters are voted on by the fans. So he already knows what the starting lineup is. The only thing he has control over is who's going to start the game.
Yeah.
But you're right. You'd imagine there is probably a conversation.
It's the Diamondbacks manager.
Yeah, and he's a great dude.
Yeah.
He's all about growing the game.
It'll be interesting. I'm all for it.
Yeah, be electric.
Joe
Buck on the call?
I would imagine so, right?
Is he?
He's done.
He's always done the All-Star.
Yeah. He always does the All-Star game. Joe Buck's, he's great, isn't he? People hate him.
He's a professional.
People hate him. Why do you hate him though? Do you hate him?
No, I like him.
I think he's good.
You didn't gain anybody's respect when he was high as a kite in his interview.
I think people hate him.
I
think people hate him because of how he got in, but but my guy does it though.
Yeah, dude. Listen,
and I think he very early on he took himself a little too seriously. He wanted to be like, I earned this job. This is how you do it because of who my dad was. And now he's totally just like,
yeah. But here's the deal.
Let me be who I actually am.
Here's the deal. I don't care how you get into a situation.
Bronny
whether
James.
you grinded your way up and you got there and you earned it that way, or if you were
think about it, just hand it over.
If you were fortunate enough to like be in a situation where your dad was a legendary broadcaster and you got in because you were that, they knew that this guy's pretty good because of who his dad is, so we're gonna give him a leg up. That happens in the real world. That's all the time. Now, how you try to say, hey, I earned this, is just be the best at what you can be no matter how you get there. And then nobody can say shit. It's like, I don't care how I got it. I got it because I was good, and I'm showing you how good I am. And that's what I feel like he does. He does. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just think a lot of America never gets over the you got handed something idea. It doesn't matter how much you produce in it. If people deem it as that's what you got, they don't want to get on to the point of, well, he's doing it.
Public perception is
really
public.
Good at it.
Yeah, but public perception is public perception.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of that changed actually a lot when we went on Pardon My Take and showed his personality. Like, talk about media helping you. Like, he went on a very relaxed atmosphere and was able to. And he's going on the McAfee show a lot of times. Yeah. Super relaxed, too, where you get to see kind of a different side of him. I think it was the Randy Moss call that probably turned a lot of people off. A despicable act. I'd honestly tell you, too, I think the team of him and Troy Aikman over the years, like, how Aikman's persona of and how people view him and them two tag teaming together, I think that's also kind of
helped that the stigma that was around Joe Buck early on as well. But the majority of people that hate him, they hate him because they felt like he got handed the job.
I think one of the most impressive broadcasting feats is when you watch him go from football to baseball to football to baseball during the World Series.
He was on the call
It's
with the DeMar Hamlin
unbelievable.
game, right?
I feel like it was a Thursday night game, or was it Monday night? I don't know. I don't think he was on the call because that was a primetime game. It was a standalone.
I mean, he does primetime games.
Yeah, but I think it was like the Thursday night crew
It's all SEC, all NFL Network.
yeah, it's the Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, yeah.
Right.
That would be
It would have been Herb Street then if this was a Thursday
Yeah.
night game. Whoever's with it would have been Al Michaels
It was
and
in
Herb
Herb
Street.
Street.
But I don't think it was.
yeah. I don't
But
think
he
it was
does
either.
call like primetime games.
Oh yeah,
so
he
I'm
just
saying,
before he does the
think-
game of the week.
I think he was on that call. And if I could be wrong, if he wasn't, no big deal. But I think he was.
Either way,
But dude, he'll go baseball, game of the week, back to baseball, back to game of the week because it does they do like the ALCS, the World Series, like
yeah, and he knows as much as you could, and you have to make all of those call sheets and
unbelievable,
everything.
dude. It's and you call games differently, right? Like a lot more excitement in football. It's faster moving. There's always a play. There's always some analyzing going on. Baseball's a little bit more slow, right?
It's all about the moment.
You are in football always talking ball for the most part. Downtime, a couple stories here and there. Baseball, more of this. Hey, this was going on. You have a conversation. You tell stories. Talk about experiences. You have a lot more time to talk. So it's a whole different way of like broadcasting and talking about a game. I think that's complete opposites. He's able to do it, which is crazy.
Crazy.
And he's got two. Who's his partner in baseball? Is it Smoltz?
Yeah, I believe so.
So John Smoltz. So he gets.
He's awesome.
It feels like you get him and John Smoltz are very similar to him and Troy Aikman. You know what I mean? Like the personalities are kind of the same. Like very easygoing, but kind of witty at the same time, and like very good at teaching the game, but a very in a
He knows how to
easy way.
set. He knows how to set those guys up.
Yeah, Troy Aikman. It's impressive. Joe Buck, big fan, bud. How did he even get on the Joe Buck conversation?
I don't know. Because he's calling the All-Star game.
That's how.
Real quick while we're on the.
It's Ask Mikey and Mitch. We didn't even promote that.
I know we have a couple questions in here.
Okay.
I'll go in reverse just because I can see those first. Oh, Lance James, ask Mikey and Mitch. How do you think Tom Brady's going to do as a commentator?
Whew, that is the question. And look, he is very well paid for it. I'm actually rooting for him because somebody that's been that good at that level for that long only has a ton of relatability, only has a ton of knowledge. And I would only imagine that he's able to bring it to life for regular people to hear. I think he's going to do well. I hope he does well. I'm just really anxious to see it, honestly.
Yeah. I think he's going to kill it. I think the best thing that happened to him, or best thing he could have done, was take that year off, and he's become more of a celebrity and shown more of his personality and done all these different things to where a lot of people are watching him and see him now, like fans of him or not fans of him. But more eyeballs to see him outside of football. And now he's going back to football. I think he's
become a lot more relatable.
Yep, and I think he's honed his skills as a broadcaster, as it comes. I think he's seen mistakes of maybe other guys who have done it maybe a little too early. And you're gonna see, I think he's gonna kill it. I think he's gonna do exactly what they expect him to do.
And calling games is a different beast too. Like it's not the same as being in a studio and doing interviews or doing a podcast or doing, like, it's a different beast. It's a completely different, it takes a different set of skills to be able to go out there and do that. So it's just something obviously he's been working on, you would imagine, we all know, since this has been announced that this would be a thing. And I'm very anxious and ready to see what it's actually going to look like.
Would love for him
really
to,
good.
Yeah, I'd love for him to go like the early Romo route where you actually get some, like what a quarterback sees whenever he's on the field and like looking at the defense as opposed to, I don't know, Jim. Like Romo got.
They made Romo stop doing that.
I know, that's what I'm saying, but you can't tell Tom what to do.
Well, I think that, and that's the thing.
When
I see about mistakes and learn from the mistakes, I think that the network sees that and says, "Oh no.
People wanted
that. So it's hard for him to go back. We already did our Hey, no, never mind. We changed our mind. We need you to go back." They see it now, Tom. Do whatever you want to do.
Well, and you locked up Romo to a permanent, a guaranteed contract. Say work less. Say less.
Yeah.
I'm going to play off.
Yeah,
I'll pop in the booth at 5:58.
Let me take Nance's thunder on a big play.
Yeah, that's I think it came from on high. I think it came from Nance. Like, let me be Jim Nance.
Yeah.
And he was like, you're stepping on me a little bit. And then he's like, fine, I'll shut it down. And now you got.
But I think he's been great. What do you think he's gonna do? You think he's gonna do well?
I think what he said about it is probably the truest thing. Like, he'll be good early on. He goes, but it's just like football. Year one's gonna be way different than year 6. I'll be better at it then than I will be now.
Yeah,
but
it's 100% a thing.
Yeah.
Who is his booth partner? Who's it gonna be?
Well, the guy that was with Greg
Trey,
Olson.
The guy with Trey. What's his name? Trey Burke something.
The basketball player.
What?
Trey Burke's a basketball player. Went to Michigan.
That's not. But you know.
I know.
We'll see. What's his name?
I
think his last name is like Burkhalter.
That's Trey Burkhalter.
Yeah.
Nice.
I can picture him. Yeah.
So I was right.
Yeah. Close.
I mean, I was pretty close right there.
But yeah, it was Greg Olson who got the boot.
And where's he going now?
He got a
Greg
demotion.
Olson's great.
I think he just took a pay cut. I don't know where he's going.
Yeah, he's just not the lead guy anymore.
Yeah.
He was slammed at somebody's wedding. He looked awesome.
He was great. I liked him.
He did do well.
He got better too. His first year was good, and every year after that, I think it was 2. He's done it for 2 years or 3 years before he got this gig.
I don't know, but he is. I like him. I like him on the mic. I think he does well.
What are you looking up?
Where Greg Olson is now, what he's going to do. I think he might be taking over Jason Garrett's role for NBC Football Night in America, which would be electric because Jason Garrett just looks at you like a pedophile. He just stares and
Jason
smiles.
is the ultimate company man.
Yeah.
Like,
he got neutered by Jerry Jones, and he's like, I guess this is who I am. Tell me what to do.
It worked out for him.
I mean, he's made a lot of money doing it.
Yeah, it worked out for him. Worked out for him. All right, we got any more questions?
Oh, yeah, hold on. Let me get back. Ask him and him. This is for MLB draft because we do have some. I got that list that you wanted for LSU baseball and some of the high school kids. But ask him and him. I thought the dollar amount is agreed upon before they draft a player in the first 10 rounds for Major League Baseball.
No, there is a
There's a slot.
There's a slot, but the pool. There's a pool of money that every team has, and it's not the same. So obviously, you know that this is what the slot says, and this is probably what the guy wants. So let's just say, for instance, I got pick 10. For some reason, the pick at the guy that's been on everybody's big board is number 6. For some reason, he slides, and he's available at 10. You don't just go and draft him because maybe you may not get him. Now, you can go over slot, but that means you either got to...
There's a percentage you can go until you have to pay a fine.
Until you have to pay a fine. And still, you can pay the fine and still do it, but my point is at that point, now it's, well, I got 20 picks. Do I risk not signing one of these picks? Do I tell the guy that I'm going to draft in the 5th round that I'll give him $300,000 below slot so I can get $300,000 more to get up here? Like, there's all these things that you can do to kind of do it that way. But yes, there is slotted money. You just don't necessarily have to stay at it. But you get the same pool. It used to just be there was really no slot, then there kind of became a slot, but there was always a luxury tax. So there was no pool. So you can just go over and pay as much as you really wanted to, which no team really wanted to do it, but they would do it.
They would pay third rounders like $6 million.
Guys that dropped out of the first round for whatever reason, one team thought maybe his medicals were questionable. He drops to the 3rd round. You sign him on the last day for $3 million over what he was getting at that spot before. Right? Like that was a thing before. Now there is pool of money. This is all you get. It has to be divvied up over these 20 picks.
Yeah.
You can go over, and once you get a certain percentage over,
you can go under 2.
You can go under 2. Exactly. So like there's ways of moving it, but you just have to stay in that pool of money.
Yep. Exactly. That's the answer.
Ask him and him. Ask J. Mitch.
Hey.
What did Jared Mitchell run on the 40?
That's a great question. I don't know. The only time I ever ran the 40 on the laser was after my junior year of high school in the summer at an Ole Miss football camp. I ran a 4.41. That is the only time I ever ran it on laser. So that's all I got for you.
Got an offer right after? 4.4 as a junior. Feels like might have to go in the office.
I did that as a receiver. That's the only other thing I did as a receiver too. I did that camp as a receiver.
Oh, you did everything as quarterback?
What? Not, but yeah, before that and after that, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was the only thing I ever did. It was the only football extracurricular that wasn't like part of the season that I really ever did, honestly.
Yeah, you didn't go to camps.
Not really.
It was the
Playing
coach.
baseball.
Playing baseball. We did a couple like 7-on-7, but 7-on-7 then
Was not what it is now.
it's not what it is now. Like we did a couple like
That you're using your high school team.
Yeah.
That's it. Like it was not kind of what it is now. And then if I wasn't doing that, I was already playing baseball. So like I never really did
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
The early 7-on-7 is ridiculous because we did it as a high school. We ran the wing tee, and we did the wing tee at 7-on-7, and it's like, what are we doing? We don't even have anybody lined up at receiver. Everybody's on the backfield. Made no sense. Me and coach really saw eye to eye on a lot of things. It's fucking stupid. We run the ball 80 times a game. What are we doing here?
So yeah, that's my answer.
Yep.
And we found the next one. Sorry, chat's rolling. Oh, another one for you, because I think of the recent wedding you were just in. SJ Mitch. Is T-Bob as good of a dancer as he claims?
T-Bob can get down, and he ain't afraid to get down.
Those are two things I do know about him. He
That
ain't
is-
afraid for sure.
So I think half the battle is actually just getting out there and doing it, and he has zero problem doing that.
It's all about courage.
Whether it's liquid courage or absolutely dry as a bone, like he will get out there. That's a fact. So I respect the hell out of that. He's the life of a party where he goes. You just put it that way.
Well, and I think he gets a lot of like bonus points for being the size that he is and being as limber as
Well,
he
you
is.
can't miss him either.
Yeah.
You know, he ain't a small dude dancing around like that. So there you go. His T-Bob is good at a dancer.
I'll leave find some more of these because we might have missed some because the chat it eliminates some of the chat. I can't go all the way to the top.
That's good. I'm glad there is a top.
Yeah, and a bottom in every relationship.
I'm glad you had to go. You had to scroll to get to it.
No, yeah.
Oh, my God.
But if we want to get to this list, just Robert Plaisance, ask him and him. Who do y'all think the first player to make it out of the majors in this league in this year's draft class will be?
Like this draft class coming?
The upcoming draft.
I think it's the kid from Oregon State. He's gonna get drafted on a team that's gonna need some sort of offense. If he can, I think he can hit.
I think it's Chase Burns.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Whether I would imagine they're going to try to keep him as a starter, but it doesn't really matter how it goes. Like, he's going to start. The talent is so crazy, and he pitches with so much effort, if you will. And I'm not saying that he can't do it. He obviously did it all year last year. He shows you that he can. Well, he didn't do it all year last year, but he shows you that he can start. My point is if there is a route for him and an opening for him to be up there early, it's hard for me to believe that they won't find a way to get him up there, especially if he can come and, add to whatever the team's doing. The guy's stuff is electric, so that would be my guess.
Yeah.
I always think
I
err to the side of arms. I think their route to the big leagues is easier, so that's the one I got. I say him over Hagen Smith because I think Hagen Smith has a little bit of figuring some things out. He'll walk, he'll lose it every now and then, even though it's so explosive and
Call me crazy.
coming from here.
I think Hagen Smith ends up being like one of the best closers in baseball. He kind of gives me Andrew Miller vibes, a little bit. Nasty lefty out of college, like unbelievable, and then for some reason like wasn't great as a starter, but was the best closer in baseball for years.
Yeah.
So and he may be a starter. I don't know. He just gives me that type of vibe, potentially. And look, those guys get paid a lot of money.
We'll see you guys like 6 years down the road. We'll see
Right.
if he's on the right on the trajectory with that one.
Yeah, I don't know. But that's what I can see.
First one out, Mikey says Bazana.
Yeah,
I think Chase Burns.
Chase Burns is a good one. I think you may be right on that. All right, let's get to the list.
Yeah, that's what the hold on, I just had it. Lance James. Could LSU shake the baseball world up and land one of the top 3 on campus? But this goes a little bit more in depth. It has the positional breakdown of the guys that are on the roster, guys that are signed, and the incoming guys. So I don't know what position you want to start with.
Well, let's just start with I just want to talk about the recruiting class.
Okay.
Let's see out of that first, and then because he's talking about the 3 big guys in the recruiting class.
Right.
Yeah. So let's just go to the whole class, and let's just talk about.
I'll just go down how they have it, so I don't have to scroll a whole ton.
Okay.
They have catcher listed here. First up, guys come additions. Blaze Priester from JUCO. That's not the guy.
No, right, but like the draft.
Cade Aramity is the guy.
That but is he projected to go in the first round?
He's the highest rated high school catching prospect in the draft.
In the country.
So he's going to draft projected first rounder.
I don't know. I don't think he is.
Is he not?
I don't think so. The draft has switched a lot from high school heavy to it's super college heavy now.
Yeah.
It really
Well, I
is.
think that is a part of what has happened with baseball and how marketable
I think
it's
it's
become.
awesome.
Yeah, me too. And that's what it feels like. College baseball is almost in a world where it's more promoted than Major League Baseball, just because it's like
And
tournament time.
It's getting filled with so much more talent than it's ever, and it's always been a ton of talent. But now you're getting even more of that because there's only 20 rounds in the college baseball draft, so these guys are not getting drafted because they can't waste draft picks.
Yeah.
So they can't draft a high school kid in the 15th round and give them money and sign them because now you're wasting 20. You only have 20. You used to have 50 picks. So they would draft all these people. They would draft the GM's grandson, as a 48th pick in the draft.
They took
No,
Michael
he's not
Vick
gonna
in the
sign, 'cause at this point, you're not
48th
signing
round.
those guys. So you get rid of those picks, and now you got 20, and every pick matters. So you're going to pick guys who you have more of a guarantee to sign, which are going to be college guys.
Hey, and for example, this is why it is the way it is right now. The 9th overall pick in the draft last year, Chase Dolander, 3-year player at Tennessee. Anybody know where he's at right now?
AAA.
What you got, Lloyd?
Chase Dolander, high A.
High A. Spokane, Washington. Right now.
He's struggling.
I don't think he's struggling. He's got a 2.83 there. He started 14 games there.
Yeah.
So he's pitching well.
Yeah.
But my point is you cut the draft by 30 rounds and you get more of these guys going to college. Whereas
Right.
before, that guy might have gone straight to pro ball, and before he might have been playing his third year in ball below AA ball
Right
now. And like that's kind of where you're at in this thing. So it makes a whole lot of sense, especially for the player right now, to go to college, get that experience there, as opposed to having to trudge through all of the lowest levels and all of the empty stadiums and podunk towns that some minor league ballparks and cities are.
So now, the fact that they changed the draft and they cut the rounds, and the fact that they've cut a couple teams, like the lower level teams, has made baseball older. I say older, not older. You don't have the second short season team where you can go and draft and put all these high school guys there, or the guys that you brought in from the Dominican, and just hoard these guys. You don't have the ability to do that, so now you don't need the teams. You don't need the picks. You have these certain teams. These are the guys you can pull from, and it's made it more competitive. I love that.
Somebody like Chase Dolander too. Like I'm kind of surprised. I would only imagine after the break he's going to go up to the next level, but he didn't pitch last year at all when he got signed. And they said, like this not, like I know, like 3 years, 4 years, 5th year senior, high school kid, for you to go to spring training, and it doesn't matter whether it's big league spring training or minor league spring training, and then out of it, the first level they send you to is high A ball. Like that doesn't really happen. That's not a huge thing.
Right.
But it becomes more of a thing when these guys have had the time that they've had in college, and it's the league is the way it is now.
Yep.
So like that's where it's at now. Like if he doesn't do that, this will be year 4 for him in pro ball. Would he be further than this? I don't know. Do we know? And that's kind of where this thing is.
Okay, back to the list.
Yeah, I just wanted to say he is projected. Cade is projected top 3 rounds. He said.
Okay, so he could potentially come to school, which that'd be a big pickup, right? You don't want to rely on a freshman catcher, but we've seen freshman catcher be good before. Maybe he's one of those guys. That would be another big pickup. Maybe Jay believes that he's gonna get all the chance in the world.
I think they got a strong. I think they got a strong chance of landing him.
Yeah.
Next up is first base, and this is more of the transfer route because Luis Hernandez and Eddie Yaman are both draft eligible.
You don't have a list of recruits.
No, they're on this list, but I'm just going by. I just figured we'd want to hit on those in case they want to go to the draft too.
We don't have enough information or video of what they've done defensively, and I think that's the guy who will end up sticking and playing the 3 spot right there. Like will be playing the field, and I think the other one is going to be pretty much your everyday DH for the most part. I think both of those bats are going to find their way in the lineup pretty much every day. It's who's going to be the better fielder that's going to man the first base spot as well.
For sure.
Because I don't think Jared Jones is coming back.
No.
Yeah, there you go. Outfield, and obviously you had Curiel, who already announced he's coming back or going to LSU, and not taking his name out the draft, I should say.
Yeah, Pearson's brother.
Pearson's brother, who is expected to come to LSU, and then obviously that leads you to Griffin.
Yes, and Griffin, I don't know. That's the question mark, right? Like we talked about earlier, is he going to go – is the number a big thing for him? Because I'm sure his number was at a certain level because where he thought he was going to be, and now he's not. And so is he going to –
It's not so much that he's not, but it's
Potentially.
definitely leaning towards
Potentially, I would say he's not,
Yeah,
potentially,
yeah.
right? Like, you know, he's going from a level of top 5 where he's going to make a bunch of money in the draft to maybe 15th, where you're still going to make a bunch of money, but it's a big drop-off from, like, the 5th overall pick. I'm not saying he is going to fall, but if the projections hold, maybe he comes, which would be, like I said, just walk right onto the field as a starter.
He is the
Like,
number 9 prospect on MLB.com.
He's what?
The number 9 prospect
Yeah.
on MLB.com.
Yeah.
No, I mean, MLB just put out literally yesterday the mock draft of 2024, and he's sitting at the 11th spot.
Yeah.
Right in between Bryce Rainier and Christian Moore.
Yeah.
And if he, I think he's in that camp of if he decides to go to school, I think you're looking at first or second overall pick.
Potentially, yeah.
Right. If he
I
does,
mean, yeah,
talent.
I would say that's the height of it, but like
Yeah.
if you're coming in, here's the conundrum that you're in at that point too, because obviously you all get to a number that you want, and let's just say you get drafted in that area. If I go to school, it's like say he gets drafted 11, but is not really getting the number that he wants. Are you really gonna not go if they really can't? Like I don't know what meeting your number may be, but that's where it becomes a problem because it's like there's only 10 more spots. Like
Yeah. How much higher
how much higher can you go?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like at that point, it's like
Yeah.
they're gonna either meet the number because they have the money and they'll figure out a way to do it. Because we're not gonna draft Connor Griffin, lose an 11 overall pick, not sign him, and be okay with just moving on with it.
Yeah.
I think that's that's where it becomes kind of crazy on both sides of it. So I think he would have to slide a little bit further, but I think the route for him to find his way at LSU is beginning to start because I wasn't expecting to see him sitting there in their mock draft as 11 right now.
Yeah.
I expect him to go somewhere in like the 5 to 10 route.
Me too.
So that's just me.
We'll see. There's a chance.
and the last one up on the list is
Kemenetti's gone. He's a pitcher.
He was 13 right after.
Yeah, he's gone, I think.
I think he's gone.
He's a pitcher. Different for pitchers.
I think he's gone.
so. Next one up would be William Schmidt, Big Bill.
Those are the two conversations we had earlier. I mean, I think we have a really good chance of landing him. There's a team that may love him and draft him 10th overall or 11th overall, and that's that. But I think if he falls to the 20s or where he's at, 30s, I think you could see him in school.
He's listed 16 on MLB.com. Yeah, that would be a huge hit if you put
16th overall or 16th
Don't do that, Lloyd.
prospect ranking.
Yeah, and he's at number 23 on this MLB draft mock that was put out 4 days ago.
Yeah.
So, I think there's a high possibility he makes it here if he falls out of, let's say, I don't know, the top 15. There's a lot of draw for him to come and play at a school like this, and there's a lot of ground that he can make, and a lot more money that he can make if he comes here and does what he needs to do. If you get drafted 23rd, or if you find your way back into the top 5, top 8, somewhere in that spot, after you do what you need to do here.
Right.
So there's a big draw for if he falls past 15 to 20 or somewhere in there. I think that's one we could possibly get here.
Yep. No doubt.
Last one up. Ask him from our boy Fonz. What's your favorite cleat that you ever played in? He always has the ones that are, personality, the personal stuff.
Honestly,
like pro ball and college, or
I like
ever.
the Adidas. When I was with Adidas for a couple of years, I like those the most. Under Armour's are trash.
They just got. I think they're about to fold. Actually,
I thought they
just lost Texas Tech.
I thought that they've been about
And-
to fold.
Yeah, and Auburn as
Oof.
Yeah, they're two biggest schools, I would say.
They don't own Maryland.
But they're never going to lose that one.
I know they won't lose that one.
That's when you know it's over.
Yeah.
We
back to where we started.
We came up at like the weirdest time because we were kind of right. Our pro ball career and college career, that window is like the real like tug of war of old school baseball
New school.
and like new school baseball.
Yeah.
Like, so we were in that where it's like, I don't understand why you want everything so uniform, but I don't have a choice because the decision is everything so uniform.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, my probably favorite ever was the first time I ever did something that was kind of custom, and I don't even really remember the reason why they let me do it, but because not everyone did it. But my junior year here at LSU, I wore Griffey's that year.
Yeah.
And that wasn't really that wasn't the team issued cleat. I don't even remember why they let me do it, but I did. So that was probably my favorite. Because that was the first time I felt like I got to customize something, if you will.
Do you still have them?
No, I don't have them anymore.
I don't have any old shit.
No.
Well, those seem like that's like 101.
No, I don't have those.
The swingman cleats.
Yeah.
Probably heavy as hell.
Actually, you know what?
I like them.
Trout's cleats are pretty cool.
You think they were heavy? Your boy was still scooting in them.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying for the normal folk.
My last year playing, I went back to, I didn't have a deal with Adidas anymore. They didn't renew their deal with me.
Internal discussion.
I did.
It was off the field behavior.
I went back to Nike, and I wore the Trouts, and they're actually really good, really comfortable.
I like them.
I like those too. I changed my mind.
That's it.
That's it. All right.
I do have the video of these two potential recruits coming to LSU, or transfer portal guys coming to LSU. One is a for sure that y'all wanted to see for Daniel Dickinson.
Oh yeah.
And then
we're not gonna really break down the swing right now, but it's a sexy swing.
So, do you want me to play it or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thought you were saying it as you were about to do it.
I just wanted to make sure you wanted to go there. So here's your boy.
Okay.
Well, it's a little highlight. I didn't make it.
Oh, I thought you were showing a picture first.
I didn't see
No,
that.
it's not NFL draft.
That's
It's like a little montage they put together of the kid. Speed.
Yep.
Speed.
Yeah.
Speed.
He's scooting a little bit, too. Backside, too. Okay.
Look at that.
Move.
Hey, this is a huge get for him. I'm just going to be honest
Yeah.
with you.
I mean, I like his actions, dude. I don't want to see him do much of that. I'd rather him hit, but if you need to, we know he's got it. Good running form.
Plays hard.
Look at that.
Oh, head first. There we go.
Too much of that
Overall outstanding male athlete. Utah Valley.
And then here
It's a big
is
pickup.
the prospective pitching prospect that could be coming to LSU. This is him at Team USA.
Jay. I mean, he's got great actions too.
Hat fits. I like it.
Never does.
Look at that thing.
Look at that thing. You see this? You see the seams, Lloyd?
Yep, that's how I see it in real life, so it really doesn't
I
matter.
wish
to
I
me.
saw the ball like that in real life.
First time I took Adderall.
Right?
Holy shit.
Imagine if you could.
I don't know what she does with this slow though. And this is a slow mo.
Just getting the form, dude. I'm sure
That's
they're
great.
breaking it down.
Right in line.
A little 12-6 bender.
Pulls it down.
Pull the string.
All
There
slow
you
mo.
go. So that's what you're getting.
Yeah, looks good. 2 good pickups. Excited for it. All right. That's all we got for Ask Mikey Mitch. We appreciate your questions. Lloyd,
Yes.
mistake of the day brought to you by Doe's Eat Place. You got one?
The mistake of the day brought to you by Doe's Eat Play. Oh, I do.
You do have one.
And some people see it as a mistake. This is popular consensus, not mine. I wanted to make it my curtain call. But Mike Gundy responding to the DUI. Have you seen this?
No, I have not.
It's elite. So their running back, their best player on their team, bar none, a Heisman contender going
Van
into
Gundy
the year.
did it again.
Oh, you didn't see this? You need to hear this one. This one's.
Oh yeah, you don't have any.
No, but you can put it over that. Right?
You really do need to hear this one.
I'll see if it'll come out and I'll see if it'll play. I don't know if I made it permanent. Hold on. Let me check. Okay, it should. Let's see. This is Van Gundy. This is Mike Gundy describing that obviously this was their media day, like for the conference, and this happened like 2 days before, where he got popped with the running back an open bottle of vodka. They say opened. I think it had been opened, which is two totally different things.
Right.
And he got popped for a DUI, and so Gundy had to answer.
Speaking of Jack Besh, representative of TCU there, I believe.
Yes, it's the second media day.
Yeah.
And so here's Gundy explaining his thoughts on the matter.
So I looked it up on my phone. What would be the legal limit? Like in Oklahoma, it's 0.08, and Ollie was 0.1. So I looked it up, and it was based on body weight. Not to get into the legal side of it, but I thought really 2 or 3 beers or 4. I'm not justifying what Ollie did. I'm telling you what decision I made. Well, I thought I've probably done that 1,000 times in my life, and I, it was based on body weight. Not to get into the legal side of it, but I thought really 2 or 3 beers or 4. I'm not justifying what Ollie did. I'm telling you what decision I made.
5.
Well, I thought I've probably done that 1,000 times in my life, and I, it's just fine. So I got lucky. People get lucky. Ollie made a decision that he wished he could have done better. But when I talked to Ollie, I told him, I said, you're lucky you got out light, because you make a lot of money to play football.
Yeah,
Wow. Then he was about to go into NIL?
Yeah. But that, it cuts off right there. But, I mean, that's why I wanted to make it my curtain call before my mistake of the day. But
my guys have been to some stuff and said, hey,
I've done it 1,000 times.
I'm cool with it.
Leave the golf course.
2, 3, 4 beers?
5 whole beers? You think you can drive after 5 whole beers? And he's like, and he does offer a great perspective. He's like, you got lucky. Like, because these things can go totally a different way. Yeah. But also, like, the first side of it first, where it's, I mean, who hasn't?
Yeah, like, he wasn't saying, oh, don't do this, like, thinking, like, yeah,
listen,
I understand why he did it. I understand why he did it. Whatever. But
it's a mistake.
No, don't do it. Mistake. Don't drive drunk or drinking.
He's also saying, hey, bro, I might get this man the rock 50 times game one as a punishment. Like,
no doubt.
What you mean kick him off my team?
Give it to him. Then he was about to go into, hey, this is what I told him. You make a lot of money coming to school here. You got to probably represent yourself in that way, or that money goes away.
Act like a pro,
right? So then he was about something like this. Great, wow. Look who did it. Wow, not me. The football's still in my hand.
Catch me on Friday.
Not as easy.
Catch me on Friday.
Not as easy as you think, because you get distracted and you start running.
You get a little comfortable.
Boom, it just drops.
Catch me on Friday. How about that?
Hey, when's your next play?
What I said.
Best play.
Tough. But yeah, okay, so that's your mistake of the day. You got a curtain call brought to you by our friends at a shirt party.
Let me find a curtain call. That was it.
I'll give you mine first while you're looking, so you can put this graphic up there as well, though. But 11-year, $76 billion media rights deal the NBA just kind of finalized today, which only assures that baseball money is no longer the longest money. Now, what he's about to pull up is the top 20 contracts in sports, with all 4 of the major sports into it. 13 of them in the top 20 are all NBA players. 6 of them are NFL players, probably all quarterbacks. And the one at the top, obviously, because that guy is doing pitching and hitting at a level that people that are doing one of them he's doing both of them.
Crazy.
So he's at the top.
He's only making 2 though. He deferred $68 million.
Yeah.
Of it.
Yeah. But it's obvious with that new media rights deal and what you see on the screen, these are only going to continue to climb. So salute and curtain call to every one of these basketball players, because that is quite obviously the longest money that there is in sports right now.
Crazy. Love that.
Boy, that's a lot of money.
Oh, dude, this is my curtain call, and it's to all the. I don't know if you've seen this on Twitter about Jaden Daniels and how he doesn't know how to read a defense, because he was doing his pre-draft process, where they're asking him, like, get on the whiteboard, whatever, like, diagnose your favorite play. They give him a play call, and he has to, like, repeat it back and do all this, and, like, what if you do this to get single high safety, all of that, and he responded like, well, what do you do if you get this look? and he was like,
Brian Dayball, right, was doing this?
And he's like, throw a touchdown.
Well,
And
wait,
everybody's
time
like,
out. Before you
cover
play,
one,
before
he
you
said.
play too, he didn't just give him a play. He asked him. He put him through the ringer. Dayball put him through
Yeah,
the ringer.
he did.
Dayball said, "I want you to give me your favorite play. Draw it all up."
And he says switch position.
Then he did it. Then he told him on the spot, switch every single position to a different position. Call the play out. Don't look back at it, and tell me what you do against this coverage. And this was his answer.
Hey, Jake, erase that Z, make him the F. Erase the X and make him the Z. Erase the W and make him the X. Erase the T and make him the H. Ready?
Yep.
Gun trolley right, 64
This
house
guy's smiling
exit.
like, damn.
Give it back to me. Nope, don't look at it.
Oh, you want me
Give it back to me how we call it.
the whole play?
Yeah?
Gun trolley right, house FN,
Okay, X in.
exit,
That's okay. And then if it's cover one, what do we want you to do? Probably.
throw a touchdown.
All right, I like that answer.
And this is also too. You got to remember, this is for everybody who thinks Dayball might be a shitty coach because the Giants sucked and they were all this last or whatever. Was in Green Bay with Brett Favre, right? Was there for pretty much all of the years of Josh Allen so far. And guess who was the quarterback coach at Alabama, or maybe he was offensive coordinator? I
Offensive
forget which one,
coordinator.
at Alabama when they had a one Jalen Hurts and a one Tua. It was Brian Daboll.
Yeah.
So he's got a pretty good track record of developing and being with good quarterbacks. So
Yep.
I don't think he's that bad of a quarterback coach. He may not be the greatest NFL head coach yet, but he obviously knows what he's doing when it comes to developing quarterbacks.
Yep.
What?
What?
There was a bunch of Twitter fodder about this. It's like Jane Daniels doesn't know, and it's everybody going, "Well, you throw the slot fade in cover one," or you look like, "Yeah, buddy, what do you think he means by how many? You know how many slot fade touchdowns he threw last year?
Yeah.
I think he knows what to do on his favorite
not-
play against
Yeah,
cover
and
one.
people-
Touchdown,
and these
when he says
people-
throw the touchdown, he's not
And he
talking
ain't throwing
about
the
stop
check
route.
down.
He ain't throwing the stop route.
These people talking have 12 hours to dissect it and say, okay, what's the perfect play? This guy's doing it in the heat of the moment in a meeting, and he comes up with that.
In front of
Witty
their
answer.
entire brass.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
everybody else would be locked up like, I don't what, huh? Spot.
And then they, as the interview's ending, they go back to, so he's like, he asked him a question. He's like, when things aren't going right, or if you come play in a market in like New York, and you have a first, say, 2, 3, 4 games, like who do you go to that you trust? And he starts answering my family. He goes, real quick, what's that play call? And makes him say it again, and he nails it again. And it's like, I think he knows, he's pretty locked in on what he's doing.
Yeah.
So,
Pretty awesome.
But that's one of the cooler quarterback like processes that I've seen. Obviously, I don't know if they did that with Daniel Jones.
This is the beauty of
I think they did.
this.
I would imagine they did.
Yeah, because Drake May got a whole bunch of.
I'm gonna piggyback on your curtain call because I don't have one.
Oh, nice.
I
We
know.
don't have a laptop.
I was rattled. I drove in straight to the show, didn't get my laptop, and I was, we're here. We had a good one. Appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for all the back and forth in the chat.
Yeah,
Makes
we
it
always
fun.
love that. Always love interacting. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you don't like us, but you like listening to us, whenever get your pause. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night, and we'll see you on Friday. Peace.